Hello, everybody.
Hi, how you doing?
Um,
How are you today?
Oh, we
Pretty
are
good.
doing great. Thank you.
Nice. So today we are going to discuss a little bit uh, a book. The book is called Family Farm. So um, our tutor is Licenciado Lionel Sevillano, and the participants for this discussion are Álvaro Atilio José Alas Flamenco,
Hello.
Gladys Elizabeth Funes Rosales, Jacqueline Beatriz Guzmán Ramirez, Ruth Marlene Ramirez de Martinez, and myself, Jose Maria Argueta. So, as I told you, we are going to discuss the book called Animal Farm. And as you know, this book was written by George Orwell in 1945. And this book is about rebellion and revolution. And everyone here will be participating and sharing the information they have about this book, but not also just sharing, they will be analyzing all the details and the most important parts of the book. So, for the participation, the main ideas we have 2 minutes per participant. And then I will be asking questions to you, and you will have 2 to 3 minutes. And then we have questions between participants. So each participant have 2 minutes to answer. And then I will share a summary of the book and some ideas I got from you. So this will be very interesting. So to start with this, I want to give the participation to Jacqueline. I want to know your main idea or your point of view of the book.
Well, hello everyone. First of
Hi.
all, it's a big pleasure to be here and sharing with you this important book, okay? Because um, I think this book represents a lot of our ancestors and realities. So it will be very interesting to be talking about it. And well, I think that, well, from my point of view, the book Animal Farm is is about, as you, Jose Maria, said, it's about the revolution and the rebellion of animals, in this case, in the the animals farm. Um, and I think it's like representing the society past, you know, how our ancestor um, live and all the situations they suffer. I think this book is like show us something that maybe we didn't live, because maybe some of you remember something about it, but I will say that I didn't live that. My parents maybe, but I didn't. So it would be very important for me to be like knowing and listen your point of view too, because I will learn from you. And yeah, also I think that the some of the main points of this book is that show us um, the poverty of the ancestors, and in this case, or the situation in this case, the how the animals lived, and what were the reason why that makes them to to fight for their freedom. So yes, I think that
Good.
The book is about that. These are the reasons. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think it is very important, the information you have shared. And as I told you, we have 2 minutes to share our main points. And I will be raising my hands to let you know that you have a minute. So let's continue with
Okay,
Alvaro.
understood. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here sharing with you about this very interesting book. I really started reading a little bit and then I searched for the movie and I found both things very interesting. And in my opinion, dissatisfaction is the main weapon to manipulate the people. In this case, George Orwell wrote this novel based on the 1917 Russian Revolution. But if when we are reading or watching the movie, we can find many things that still are going on in in our in our time. So it's something that we can enjoy it and at the same time feel a little bit sad about the things that are always coming back and happening again. But it's very good. I really had a lot of time without finding something that interesting. And especially when Mr. Jones arrives to the bar and starts drinking on his friends and complaining about his situation, it's something that happens every day practically. We go and complain with everybody, but we don't do anything to fix our problems. Thanks a lot for this chance.
Okay. Thank you, Alvaro. Great to know about how the situation was and how this was related to real life and how daily activities are written in the book. Very important for us. So now I give the opportunity to Marlenis to show her main idea or point of view of the book.
Hello, peers. Um, I I glad to be here with you in this discussion. And for me, I consider that this book is very interesting.
We cannot hear you.
Yes, I think you have a microphone problem.
I can. I don't know if you.
We cannot hear you, Marlene. That's very normal with virtual classes or meetings.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Hello? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I'm sorry about the interruption, but as I say, I compared the movie with the book, and I found very interesting information about that. And I realized that the novel, the writer, tried to explain about the situation that they live in the revolution, and try to compare with the some characteristics of the animals that they have. They they adapt the personality of the animal with the people in that time. And so this is very interesting because they, I think that they don't have the time uh, or, or the space to show, to explain in reality. So he tried to write about that situation using this story, using the animals and other things to explain how was the difficult in that time, the revolution. That's my participation.
Great. Thank you, Marlene. And very important your participation. And I think we have also Gladys who can share with us some of her main point ideas. Gladys, you got the microphone.
Hello, everyone. I want to give you my opinion about this book that I found very interesting. At the beginning of the story, I honestly thought that this book will leave another message. When I read about a farm and animals, I just thought it would be another children's book, like a fantasy story. And for me, the message of the book was quite interesting, in which we thought about the way of life can be changed. And in my opinion, this story is very interesting because it demonstrates the power that the union of animals has to improve their living conditions. And when animals feel dissatisfaction with the condition in which they are being forced to live, they decide to group together to change that situation. And all animals decide to get their freedom. There was a time when the dissatisfaction of the farm animals was too much, and they all agreed that no animal should live in the human house. I also remember that they wrote the seven commandments in order to have love, to respect, and to be able to live in harmony. This was a way of improving the dissatisfaction they felt towards the life they had at that time. And in my opinion, if leaders are allowed to do what they want, then they won't want to stop doing it. As in the book, where the pigs were the leaders and always have the best food, they used the human bedding. This was something that should not be done according to the rules of the animals. And then when the chickens no longer wanted to obey him, and the pigs killed them. I also remember that pigs always treat other animals badly and get drunk and take over everything. And the satisfaction is always coupled of uniting everyone and being able to change the life they led to improve it. As in the case of the book, where the animals no longer want pigs to be leaders and the animals unit to make that change. In this book, you can identify a government that doesn't help and also doesn't respect other animals.
Thank you so much. Very good. So now I think we got the main points of this book, but also it is important to analyze a little bit more and get some other ideas. So right now we have some time to ask questions, but for now I will be asking questions to you, and I don't know if you agree to choose any of you to answer my questions, and
Yes, go
then
ahead. Go ahead.
okay, perfect. So it will be easy. So I have a question for Alvaro. How is democracy shown in the story?
Well, I think, as Gladys was mentioning, we have a lot of characters represented in that novel, such as Hitler and Karl Marx. They are representing some animals also. As for example, we have the Napoleon as in Snowball, the pigs. That they take the power after the pig mayor dies, and the same thing happened in everywhere, and even in our country it has happened many times. Democracy, by definition, is power in the hands of the people, but that's kind of like a nirvana, something that is only in our minds, it's only a dream. Because even when we have the power, we have the force to move things, we don't get together as people, as a whole country. So democracy in that novel is really not represented in a good way, because even when the mayor speech sells a kind of things to go the same way for everybody, at the very end it's only a speech and doesn't anything else happens after that. What happened is what also Gladys was mentioning, that the people in the power they begin taking all the things, all the luxury things for them, and the rest of the people is as the same. It doesn't change for us as citizens. No food, no water, everything is limited for everybody except by the people who is on the power. So democracy is represented like doesn't, so something that really doesn't exist, doesn't apply in anywhere, because all the people or all the animals, what they do is to try to take advantage of the ships and that represent the country people or the people from any country. That's my opinion.
Thank you so much, Alvaro. You mentioned something very important, the power of people. Sometimes leaders use the power of people badly, and that happened in the story. That's good. So now we have a and do you think Orwell purposely chose certain types of animals to assume certain roles?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Okay. Do you think Orwell purposely chose certain types of animals to assume certain roles? Like the writer purposely chose animals to compare to people?
Oh, as I say at the beginning, I consider that he wrote that like using animals to explain what they as human they were living in that time, because maybe they don't have the freedom to explain to explain what happened in that time, uh, to raise their voice in front of the people, right? So he tried to explain uh, what happened in that time using the animals, uh, writing what happened. And if they were people, they can say something about what happened, but they are just animals. But he tried to explain. I consider that he tried to explain what happened in the revolution using the animals.
Perfect. That's very good. So I think there was something in the story comparing animals and like, as you know, the leaders were pigs. And some people say that pigs are very intelligent, very smart. So probably the writer was saying that like
There were
the
some people that some uh, dictators or
exactly.
uh,
So
that
so probably they were comparing pigs with dictators, and pigs are very smart. So probably he was saying, okay, dictators are so smart also. So
yeah, and he tried to explain that maybe at first they were good, but they at the end they just use the other animals,
okay,
and at the end it was this dissatisfaction of every animal.
okay. So now I have a question for Jacqueline. What was the historical context of this story?
Okay, well, as I read and watched the movie, also I investigate some information extra. So I found that this book was written in 1917. You mentioned already the author, George, and this book is basically based on the events of Russian Revolution. And this book show all the things that they lived at the time. For example, for example, at the time, the Russians were ruled by just a few power people. So if we compare this to the novel, we can say Napoleon. It was one of those, and first I here appear Lenin, I think, and this was represented by Snowball. At the beginning, he was making the things well. You know, he was. Um, they were working well. They were working well, but then, you know, Napoleon killed him, and he after that he lied the animals, and you know he manipulated them and did everything just to benefit himself and you know the other pigs. And that's something we can that's something that Russians live. The majority of people live very very poor. They didn't have food, and they did work so hard in the farmland, you know, to feed the rich people. So that's why, if you see, they desire to rebel and uh, and also to fight for freedom. And yes, that's the history about this book. It's about the events of Russian Revolution.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, that's a good historical context. And I think we got an idea of the comparison of the book to real life. Now, I
Something.
have a question. Yes,
It's, sorry, I just want to clarify something. The
no
novel,
problem. Yes.
the novel was written on 1945. It's based on the revolution of 1917. Sorry,
19.
sorry,
Okay,
I apologize.
okay.
Thank you so much, Alvaro. I
I found
was
that,
going to
but
tell that.
no. Thank you,
Okay,
Alvaro.
very good. That's why we are a team. We are helping each other. Okay,
Yeah.
now I have a question for Marlenis. I mean Gladys.
Oh, Gladys.
Yeah. So do you consider that animals were better or worse off once they got in control of the farm?
In regard to your questions, I believe that the animals were better at the beginning. When the animals obtained control of the farm and their food, their work, all of them could dispose of their resources. And they also made love for a better coexistence. But what they always had was a leader, which is the case where the pigs, and they didn't comply with the law and didn't respect the other animals. That's why I think that at the end of the story, the animals were worse by the control of the farm by the pigs. That
Thank you so much. Very important that. And it looks like once there is a revolution, everything looks very good at the beginning. But once the leader is getting the power, you will see changes like we were seeing in the book. And actually, in the movie, as Alvaro said, you can see that. And for a revolution, it is important that the the commandments, like we hear before, um, they can be like implemented, not just reading in a wall or something else. So now we are going to do something different. I'm not going to ask questions anymore, but now you can ask questions each other. So I just will tell you who is going to ask, and then you will be interacting. For example,
Okay.
I want the first person, Alvaro. You can ask a question to Jacqueline.
Okay. Thanks, Jacqueline. In your opinion, and using your own words, what do you think was the author's worldview?
Okay, I think that the author wanting to share he was like democratic because he wanted to show the corruption of the people that had the power, and yes, uh, he um, he said everything in that book, and he showed how power can be bad sometimes if it is in the wrong hands. You know, you can lie people, uh, but then everything is going to end bad if you do the wrong things. So yes, I think he wanted to show us how people lived, and 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 also I think I read something, and is that at that time Lenin was a person that defended poor people, wanting to implement the communism because it was capitalism at that time. So I think he was agree with that, because communism said that everyone is equal. And if you see in the novel, I think Gladys said the rules that they wrote, and said that all animals should be equals, something like that. So I think we all people are equals. It doesn't matter if you have power, you should respect others and help them. You know, you have more obligations if you have power, because um, how people suffer, and if you have the chance, chance and the power to change their realities. um I think that that would be the perfect way to do the things.
Excellent.
Yes.
Thank you so much. So now Marlene can ask any question to Gladys.
Okay. My question is about do you think that in our country this story is related with our real reality?
Okay, in my opinion, yes, I think this story is related to our reality because every leader makes promise, but the population must have a critical mind to be able to comment on the work that the government does and understand if what the government is doing is beneficial to the entry country. And that is why I think education is very important so that all people generate a deeper level of evaluation for the government and not just obey orders. I think this book is very close to reality. For example, when people are afraid of changes, even though these changes may improve their lives, and they don't want to do anything that is different from what they are used to. In this book, I remember that the animals changed who fed them, but in the end, they always had a leader and followed his orders. That is why I consider that education is a fundamental pillar for knowledge and thus always be able to criticize the government and know how it can improve and not allow it to just give orders. The population must make the government provide all people in general with a dignified life. I believe that every leader who has such power makes promise and in the end always prefers his benefits. It's for this reason that the population must analyze the work of their leader and verify that he is attached to the law. I think.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Gladys. Very important. And now I want Jacqueline to ask a question to Alvaro.
Okay. Alvaro, do you think that some of the scenes in the novel are still happening in the present time?
Of course. And I was waiting for this chance to speak. Thanks for asking that. Well, I have a lot of experience about that because I lived during the civil war in our country. And I remember when Napoleon Duarte, he presented itself as a solution, and everybody says that he was the one who was coming to change everything. But even when he showed himself as a Democrat, he tried to apply some communist principles or beliefs, like, for example, the distribution of the land, the famous Reforma Agraria. I think you probably heard about that. And he came with that idea that taking the money from the rich people, he were going to solve the situation of the poor in our country. I I will mention this. I had a chance to participate in two banquets with Duarte in the Bracamontes headquarters in the airport. And wow, that was awesome. How much food brings and everything. That was the same scene that we see with the pigs, the sharing with all the people, that luxury, that all that expensive things. The same thing happened at that time, and that things still happen in our days. So what we see in that novel, or even in the movie, we see the same things today. We are suffering the same things because we don't use the power we have. As I said at the beginning, democracy is the power in the hands of the people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alvaro. And great, you have some experience during the Civil War. It's a very important thing to know because we were, not all of us were in the Civil War and we don't know a lot, but we got some ideas and it is good you compare this with the book. So now I think the last question is from Gladys to Marlene.
Marlene, in your opinion, do you think that making laws for a good coexistence between animals was a good idea?
Sorry, I couldn't understand the question. Can you repeat again?
Yes, of course. In your opinion, do you think that making laws for a good coexistence between animals was a good idea?
Hello.
Sorry, my microphone. Where?
Okay.
Well, I consider that the laws are good, but sometimes, as Alvaro says, the powers of the people that is in the making this kind of law uh, only use for the benefits of they want, and when the people want to raise their voice, they don't they don't they come to try to make the people to stay quiet about what is going on in the reality. So I consider that the government always try to use the power to have some equal, they say, but in reality it's not equal. They always look for the benefit, and that's why at the end the the people become this with the this dissatisfaction, and they end angry with the government. That's their my opinion about.
Great. Thank you so much. I think everything we have analyzed and everything we have shared here is very important. And as a summary, I can tell you that animals were suffering. So they got angry. They got into a rebellion. So they decided to organize. And as you remember, and you told us that there was a big leader before, and that one passed away. And then the other ones come. But I think a good leader is the one that is with the people, not just telling the people what to do. And something interesting is the dissatisfaction here in this book. And that word calls revolution because when people is not happy, they got angry and they became rebels. So they get mad and they go to fight. So the novel is related to real life, as you told us. You were telling us that this was compared with the Russian Revolution, and also people were dissatisfied on that time. And but also when people are not happy, they do the revolution and they put a leader, and sometimes that leader manipulates the people, and that's the problem because that person got power and that person feels it's a god. And in the book we see that animals got dissatisfied with their leaders, so then animals did another revolution because they didn't like the pig who was a dictator. And a good message of this story is the power of the union, which help to make changes. So when people is united, people can make changes. But when we are not united, we have leaders that are not helping people and leaders that help just a group of people, not all the people. And that's the issue, I think. So I don't know if you have any final comment to us, anything you want to share with our classmates.
Well, when you were speaking, I remember, for example, Shafiq Handal. He, the same way as Mayor did, probably he had a good intentions, good purpose for the people of our country, but he and all the good leaders they were eliminated. I don't know. Maybe the situation how Chapik dies is well, can be some dark things that happen under the table, as we would say. But as I know another, well, I used to know another people who were eliminated from the communists because they have a different idea from the ones who ended at the power. And well, thank you very much for this opportunity, and I hope we have the chance in the future to get together again.
Thank you so much. I think we don't have a lot of time, but it was a pleasure to learn from you because I was learning a lot. And also
Yeah, me too.
the way you were
I
sharing
love
your information, your thoughts. Perfect. Yeah.
Thank you
it.
to all.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah.
Good night.